Hey everyone, today we are going to be making this cool peyote stitch crossover bracelet. For this project, I will be using 11/aught Miyuki Delica seed beads. I have a fuchsia-lined crystal luster, a luminous hot pink, and a silver-lined crystal. And for brevity's sake, I'm just going to be calling them purple, pink, and silver. You will also need a 12mm lobster clasp, a wire guard, a 4mm jump ring, and a 1-inch extension chain. For my thread today, I'm going to be using 6-pound Fireline Smoke, and also my handy dandy thread zap. You're also going to need a pair of needle nose pliers, and this part is optional, but I'm going to be using my jump ring opener. I've got about 2 arms length of my Fireline Smoke threaded onto my big eye needle. And I've chosen a single bead of a completely different color to put on as my stop bead so that I'll know it doesn't belong there when we take it off at the end. So I'm going to go through my stop bead one time and pull it down until there's just a couple inches for a tail. Then I'm going to go through my bead 2 more times in the same direction every time. For my first row, I'm going to be putting on 1 purple, 2 pinks, 1 silver, another 2 pinks, and another purple. I'm going to pull those down to the stop bead, pick up 1 purple bead, skip the last purple bead, and go into the next pink bead. And that is the start of our peyote stitch. Then I'm going to pick up a pink bead and go into the silver bead in the center. I'll pick up another pink bead and go into the last pink bead. Now I'm going to pick up a purple bead, and since we're at the end of the row, I'm going to go into the purple bead underneath and snake around until I'm going through the purple bead that I just put on towards the outside. Now I'm going to go back through the purple bead underneath. And then I'm going to add another purple bead with peyote stitch. Next we will peyote stitch on a pink bead and then another purple bead. I'm going to go into the purple bead underneath where I currently am, and then I'm going to go up through this purple bead towards the inside, tucking my thread between the beads. From there I can peyote stitch on 2 more purple beads. And then I can make my way over to the middle so that I can peyote stitch on my last purple bead. Once I do that, I'm going to make my way back around so that I am coming out of that same middle bead. And then I'm going to stitch on my wire guard by going up 1 leg of the wire guard and down the other, and back into that purple bead in the middle. I'm also going to make a second loop around to make sure that wire guard is extra secure. Then I'm going to make my way over to the edge, going out of this purple bead right next to my stop bead. And then I'll go into the purple bead right above it. For this row, I'm going to peyote stitch on 1 purple bead, 1 pink bead, and another purple bead. And then for this next row, I'm going to peyote stitch on 3 purple beads, and then do our little end of the round turnaround for the 4th purple bead. Now that we're coming out of this top left purple bead going towards the middle of our work, I'm going to stitch on a pink bead. Then we'll stitch on a purple bead and then another pink bead. For this next row, I'm going to stitch on 2 purple beads. Then I'm going to go in through this pink bead underneath where I am towards the right side. And I'm going to go through this purple bead going towards the right side and tucking my thread in between the beads. For this row, I'm going to sew on another pink bead. And then for the next row, I'm going to sew on 2 purple beads and do our little turnaround. And I like to go all the way back across the row and to the other side so that I can keep even tension on both sides of the leg. Because if we do our typical turnaround, all the tension will be on one side where the thread is doubled up. And I'm going to keep adding rows in this way until my pink stripe is 15 beads across. After that, I'm going to make my way all the way back down this leg of the crossover so that I can start to build up the other leg. And now that I am going through this middle purple bead, I can start adding rows just like I did on the other leg. I'll start off by adding 2 purple beads on this row, 1 pink bead on the next row, and so on and so forth until I have a pink stripe that is 15 beads across. And now that I have both legs finished, I'm going to cross them over and join them together. So I've got the top leg crossed over the bottom leg, and I'm going to start off the next row by adding a purple bead with peyote stitch. Next, I'm going to pick up 3 purple beads and sew into the next pink bead. I'm going to finish off this row by adding another purple bead going into the bead underneath, and instead of doing our usual turnaround, I'm going to go into the bead going towards the center. That way I can go into this very middle bead a second time and tack it over to the other leg. Then we make our way to the outside so that we can start our next row. And I'm going to add 1 purple bead, 1 pink bead, and another purple bead. And then this is the start of our next diamond shape. So I'm going to add 1 purple bead, 2 pink beads, and another purple bead. And for the next row, we're going to add 1 pink bead, 1 silver bead, and another pink bead. And for the next row, we're going to add 1 purple bead, 2 pink beads, and another purple bead. And then the next row, we're going to add 1 purple bead, 1 pink bead, and another purple bead. For the next row, we're going to add 4 purple beads. And then for the next round, we're going to have one pink bead, one purple bead, and another pink bead. And at this point, we can start making another pair of legs to cross over. Once we get to the point where both of our legs have 15 beads in their pink stripe, then we can start joining them together and making another diamond shape just like we did before. And from here, you're just going to repeat the pattern until you have a bracelet long enough to fit your wrist. To fit my wrist, I ended up needing 6 diamond shapes with 5 crossover sections in between. And now I'm going to finish off my last diamond shape without adding any legs so that I can add my lobster clasp to the end. And so when I get to where the last bead would go, instead of a bead, I'm going to sew on my lobster clasp. And then I'm going to make another loop around the beads and the lobster clasp to make sure it's extra secure. After that, I'll do a couple of rounds in the interior beads with my thread so that when I cut it off with my thread zapper, my lobster clasp is not going to pull out. And you want to make sure that you do a loop around 2 beads at least twice to make sure that it's really not going to come out. Then I'm going to burn off the excess with my thread zapper, and I'm going to end off the other side the exact same way. I just have to make sure I take off my stop bead before I tie the excess thread back in. And here we have our bracelet almost finished. I'm going to take my handy dandy jump ring opener and my pair of needle nose pliers, and I'm going to add both the jump ring and the extension chain to the wire guard. I'm going to close my jump ring right back up, and then my bracelet is ready to wear. And for this green one that I made the crossover legs just a little bit shorter, with each one having a middle stripe of only 12 beads long. And I really do like the way the shorter crossover sections ended up looking. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial and want to see more like it, please be sure to give me a crumb of a like, a morsel of a subscribe, or a tasty tidbit of a comment. And if you really want to support this channel, you can go to my website, Xerelia.com, where I list all of the jewelry that's featured here, and there's some patterns and bead kits on there, so check it out. Okay, bye!